channel. Welcome if you have not been here before. Today I'm doing makeup inspired by the opera Rusalka. Now for those of you who are not familiar, a Rusalka is in Slavic mythology a water spirit, often of the malevolent sort, not very kind to humans. But the opera Rusalka is about a water nymph who longs to be human, very much along the lines of Little Mermaid. But like the original Little Mermaid, this is not a happy tale. So we have the water nymph who falls in love with the prince who hunts near the lake. She goes to a witch to become human. The witch warns her that if the prince does not fall in love with her, she is going to be damned for all eternity and he will die. Now, of course, Rusalka meets the prince, they fall in love, everything is great, but other people are suspicious because she cannot talk. She's given up her voice to become human, and they turn against Rusalka. They bring in a foreign princess who takes the prince away from Rusalka. She flees back to the water, and then the foreign princess is disgusted that the prince could even be manipulated into falling in love with this other woman. She rejects him. The prince goes back to the lake where Rusalka is. She knows at this point that he's going to die. He knows it too, but he says, please kiss me. He kisses her, he dies, and she lives out all eternity in absolute misery. So, not a happy opera, but like so many operas that aren't happy, extremely beautiful. And I tell you all this just to clarify, this makeup is based on the opera rather than the traditional Slavic mythology, which would be more of a creature makeup look, mermaids, scales, that kind of thing. In the opera, Rusalka is typically depicted in an almost ethereal sort of way. I think of Galadriel from Lord of the Rings. So this will be a wearable, beautiful makeup look. And I don't know why this one occurred to me today. Maybe because we have a full moon outside, but for whatever reason, I thought this would be a little fun change of pace from the tutorials I've been doing lately. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, I'm going to start with my L'Oreal shaping stick. This is a foundation stick in the color 401 Ivory. It is quite pale for me, but I do like to go a little bit paler with an ethereal look like this. And of course, Rusalka being a water nymph hasn't seen much sunlight. And just blending this in with a nice flat foundation brush so that we don't look too crazy here. I'm also just putting some of this on my eyelids. This is a little bit thicker than a traditional foundation, although it does not feel heavy, but the consistency is not as lightweight as the regular foundation, and so this makes a great eyeshadow primer as well. Now for blush, I do want to go with something a little bit more exotic than usual. So I'm going to grab my 3 favorite Rare Beauty blushes and do a nice gradient of color. So I'm starting with the shade Bliss. I'm going to start nice and low, right on where the natural apples of my cheeks are. This is lower than I normally apply my blush. Next, I'm going in with the color Happy and just following this shape of the cheekbone and finishing up with Love, which is quite a bit deeper. If you notice, I'm getting smaller and smaller with these dots. Otherwise, the darker colors will just overwhelm the lighter ones. And I'm going to start by blending this just with my finger. And I have my handy makeup wipe here so I can clean my fingers as I go. And now going to a flat makeup brush. I'm going to start by tapping this in, because I don't want that color smearing all over the place. And I like to go about 85% with the blending, and then I clean off my brush and finish blending mainly by feathering those edges. And as a final step, just pressing into the skin with the Beauty Blender. Really make sure that everything is blended so we don't look like an impressionist painting, although that's a beautiful look, maybe not for wearing, but certainly in art. Now I'm going to skip any sort of contour today. When I think of Rusalka, I think of someone who's very soft, very innocent, but like I said, has this ethereal sort of quality. So no contour, but I do want some nice shimmer. So I'm going to go in with the Kiko Milano highlighter. This one is called Joyful Holiday. And this is going to go right above where that blush ends, as well as along my brow and tip of my nose, and right in that Cupid's bow. And it's perfectly fine if it gets on your lip. It'll be covered up with the lip products later. Alright, so let's blend that in. So now moving on to the eyes, I am going to go in with my trusty Too Faced Better Than Chocolate palette, but unlike almost every time I've used this, we are not going for the nudes today. I'm going to be choosing some of the bright colors that are on here, which I seldom use. Usually, I think the only people who have used these colors are my children when they're playing dress up. So I do want to start with this very light, shimmery white color. This one is called Milk It. And I'm going to put this in the inner corner, letting that go almost onto the nose here, and both on the top and bottom of the eye, kind of stretching it up towards that crease. next I'm going to choose this soft purple color. It's called Sugar Rush. And I'm hoping that this purple will really make my eyes pop, make the green stand out, since they are almost opposites on the color wheel. Really, red and green would be opposite, but I don't think that would work as well. So purple has enough red in it just to make that green come alive a bit. And when I think of ethereal creatures, I think so much about them is in the eyes. Traditionally, that very pale blue eye look works very well. But I'm working with the color I have, and already I think the green is popping a bit more than usual. Alright, so next I'm going in with this deeper purple called Midnight Snack. And this is going to go on the outer corner here. Going to bring it into a point. And I'm not angling this up as I often do. This look, I think, deserves a siren eye. For those of you familiar with that term, if you're not, we will definitely explain it in just a moment. I'm going to go about halfway across the lid with this crease, but really keeping that in a V shape so it's not filled in. Then we can switch to our fluffy brush and give that a nice blend. Just to finish off, I do want to bring that color right underneath the lid as well. Only on that outer third of the eye, kind of completing the triangular shape. Alright, so now let's focus on that siren eyeliner. I'm going to use the L'Oreal Voluminous Liner Noir. This is a different one than I usually choose, but it has that beautiful strong point on it, and this is going to be great for siren eye. So I'm just going to gently apply some to the inner corner of my eye. Now, as I've talked about in other tutorials, I have downturned eyes. So this part is the highest point of my eye. I'm going to skip the eyeliner there because I want to make my eyes look a bit more even without that natural slope. So I'm going to pick up the siren eye right as that slope goes downward. And then instead of doing the traditional wing, I'm just bringing that line down in a straight line. So I'm going to start there, focus on the other eye, and for anyone who struggles with eyeliner specifically, making both sides match. I always recommend doing a little here, switching eye back, forth, and that way you can see what you're doing and remember how much you put on one eye. It's a trick that works very well for me, and I hope it will work for you too. Alright, so let's take this point and really exaggerate it quite a bit more. I'm just doing the initial line, fill it in more. And now that I've mapped out how far I want to go, I'm going to switch over to my absolute insanely black. This one just has more of a punch. Although I think the L'Oreal gives better control. And let's finish up the eyes with some mascara using Benefit Bad Girl Bang. I usually use the same mascara for several weeks before switching to a new one. Right now this one is my favorite, and I'm not bothering with any other mascaras because they do go bad quite a bit faster than most other makeup. So I see no reason to have a big selection of them. Alright, so once I get mascara on here, I'm just going to guide my eyelashes this way to keep up with that elongated shape. Now I'm going to fill in my brows with the Anastasia Brow Wiz, and this is a nice fine pencil. It makes drawing those little hairs so easy. I do like this one a bit more than the Ebon Secret of the Pharaoh that I often use, but this one is also quite a bit more expensive, so a lot of times I make do with the other one. And now I'm just going to add some clear brow gel from Anastasia again. And I'm going to get those hairs going at an angle upwards. I think not only does this make my brows look a little fluffier, but it also gives that impression that we've been in water and the brows are slightly wet. Alright, so now I'm going to go with something quite pink for the lip, but I don't want to compete too much with that purple. I'm going to choose this lighter shade of pink from Italia Deluxe. This one is called natural beige. And I've overlined my lips, made them quite pouty. I think that looks very, as we say, otherworldly with these very siren eyes. And I'm actually going to keep the rest of my lips their natural color, not bother with any lipstick or anything, but I do want to end the look with lip injection from Too Faced, and this is just a clear gloss that stings the lips a little and makes them even poutier. And I'm just being nice and generous with this. And this is the final look. Again, it's very wearable, but there is something quite mysterious and almost not quite right about it. Something that really makes you look twice. Who are you and where did you come from, sort of thing. And I love playing it up with makeup like this. I think this is a lot of fun. It is such a different look for me. As you know, I usually go right to those browns and the contours and either a very nude lip or a red lip. So this has been so much fun. I think my features look so much softer, my face, my lips. It's even downplaying my nose a bit, which was not my intention, but I don't mind. And the siren eyes bring such a different mood to a look like this. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this strange, different tutorial. Let me know if there's anything you'd like to see, especially before the holidays. And if not, then I will see you in the next tutorial.